Hi, everybody. This is Skip Elsheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime streaming show. It's Thanksgiving Day, and I'm not at the archive. Well, I am at the archive. I'm recording at the archive, but I'm taking the day off, and hopefully you are too. I'm very thankful for all of you, for everything that has happened to lead me to be able to do what I'm doing. There's a lot of support. I did a lot of work. I busted my hump and I spent a lot of money on things, but really there's a lot of friends and family that supported me to get to this point, and I'm very gracious or grateful for them. And hopefully, today you get to. I know this sounds so syrupy um, and sappy, but think about the people or the organizations or the things in your life that helped you support you. None of us are having perfect lives, but there's certainly some things that kind of buoyed us up. And so please think about those people and those organizations. Also, there's some of us who are less fortunate, and think about how can you help them, even if it's a minor token gesture, a little bit of cash towards a food bank or helping somebody who's in need, just a little bit. A stranger helping sometimes means a great deal. So, but today is a mishmash, a potluck of a variety of different things that tangentially are related to Thanksgiving. Um, some of them make sense, some of them maybe doesn't. There's grocery shopping, there's cooking, there's what else? Bagging groceries. Like there's potatoes, there's I don't know. It's a wide variety of different things. So it's a mishmash. But some of this stuff you'll never have seen before, and some of it we have shown in the past, but hopefully you'll still enjoy it. But everybody have a great day. Enjoy what we're about to show. And then hopefully we will see you soon. Everybody take care. Enjoy.
It's early in the morning before this large supermarket opens for customers. I'm the manager of the supermarket. And this is my son, Johnny. This morning, I'm going to show Johnny what goes on behind the scenes here before the day's business can begin. A supermarket is like many little markets or departments, all brought together into one big building. Each department sells a different kind of food. One of my jobs, I tell Johnny, is to see that the market has plenty of food to sell. I must also see that all the people who work in the market know what to do, and that they do their jobs well. My first job in the morning is to open the door to the rear loading platform where deliveries to the market are made. Watch this truck backing in, Johnny. It's bringing some of the food the market will sell. Here's a man unloading vegetables and fruit from a vegetable or produce truck. The vegetables and fruit are taken to a storage room in the back of the market. Here they are cleaned. It takes a great deal of work to prepare the vegetables, so they will be clean enough to sell to customers. From the inside of this truck, a roller track carries cartons of canned and paper goods into the market. A moving belt inside the building carries the cartons to a second-floor storage room. Here, they are taken off the belt and stacked on storage shelves until needed. Johnny watches boxes of frozen food being unloaded from a refrigerated truck. One of my helpers explains that a refrigerated truck is like a large icebox on wheels. This is the market's frozen food locker. Frozen food from the truck is put inside this locker room to be kept frozen until it is needed for customers. This truck is refrigerated too. In it, big pieces of meat are brought to the market. The meat is hung on hooks from an overhead slide, so it can be easily moved. The meat is pushed into a refrigerated room to be kept cold and fresh until it is ready to be cut up for sale. Mr. Dale, my meat department manager, shows us the meat he is going to cut today. In the meat cutting room, the meat is cut to prepare it for sale. This meat has been ground into hamburger. The cut and ground meat travels on rollers to the packaging and weighing room. In this room, packages of meat are made ready for selling. Since food must be kept very clean, the packages are carefully wrapped and labeled. They are covered with cellophane and then sealed with a hot iron. Each package is weighed, and the weight and price are marked on the label. Finally, the wrapped meat is ready to be put into a refrigerated display case in the front of the market. From it, customers may choose what they want. This case keeps the meat cold and fresh until it is ready to be taken home. The vegetables are taken from their storage room as they are needed and attractively arranged in the display cases in front of the market. Many different kinds of vegetables, and fruit too, are displayed. This chute carries cartons of canned and paper goods from their upstairs storage room to the market's main floor. Cans of food are put on the shelves. The price is stamped on each can, so the customers and the cashiers at the checkout stands will know how much each costs. The packages of frozen food are also placed in a refrigerated display case. Many different kinds of frozen foods are offered for sale. Meanwhile, I check on some signs needed for tomorrow's sale. I tell my sign maker what the sale price will be. The signs will be used in the windows of the market. Back in my office, Johnny sees some of the other work necessary to help run the market. This is my secretary. She's working on the sales record of yesterday's business. I must know how much food was sold the day before, so I can order more if it is needed. This is my bookkeeper. She's adding up some bills for me to pay. Now, Johnny, how would you like to open the market? Just push this buzzer. The doors are open. Here come the customers. One of the first customers to come in this morning is Johnny's mother. She's come to do her shopping and to pick up Johnny while I go back to work. As they shop, Johnny tells his mother what he's learned about the supermarket. How the big trucks come every day, bringing different kinds of food to the back-loading platform. How the cartons of food are unloaded from the trucks and moved to the storage rooms. How the vegetables are cleaned. How the meat is cut and wrapped to keep it clean. How the clerks put the food in the display cases and arrange it on the shelves. What the office workers do. And some of the things I must do before the customers arrive. Johnny and his mother have completed and paid for their shopping. Today, Johnny's learned that a great many things go on behind the scenes of a supermarket.
Some people call this a war. War or not, one thing is sure. A daily battle is being waged in supermarkets all over this country. A battle for the customer's dollar. If a store is to make a profit in the face of today's stiff competition, everyone in it must give his full effort. But like any battle, victory in this conflict is finally won or lost on the front line. With literally millions of dollars at stake, success is measured in pennies. The checker plays a key role in this daily struggle. Methods of handling groceries and customers may vary from store to store, but the basic objectives are the same. Check the customer's purchases accurately, ring them up correctly, and collect the money for the store. And there's more, much more. Probably no job in a supermarket affects the store's success more than that of a checker. Her every action reflects on the store and its entire staff. She is a shopper's last, and often only, personal contact with the store. To the customer, the checker is very important. Her responsibilities are great and varied. But with all of them, one of a checker's primary obligations is to keep the traffic moving. Sometimes a checkout lane begins to resemble a crowded thoroughfare. When jam-ups form, they're hard to get rid of. And the analogy goes much deeper. The colors of traffic control, red, yellow, and green, have a real relationship to the science of good checking. Naturally, the idea is to keep things moving, to keep that green light glowing. Good checking really boils down to the same essentials, no matter what type of equipment your store uses. To demonstrate these essentials, here are 3 outstanding checkers, all former queens in the Checker of the Year competition. Meet Ruth Bussey of the B&B Supermarkets in Tampa, Florida. A checker for 10 years now, Ruth was chosen International Checker of the Year in 1964. Next to Ruth is Pat Hilton of the Alpha Beta Supermarkets in La Habra, California. Pat has 18 years' experience and was International Checker of the Year in 1962. And this is Rose Scalavino. Rose has 4 years' experience and works for Star Market in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Rose was Checker of the Year in 1963. And here's another checker you should meet. Miss Jones is not a Checker of the Year, but she hopes to be someday. She's an intelligent, hard-working, charming young lady. Still a little new to her job, but learning fast. Like most of us, she could learn a lot just by watching experts perform.
The first thing I do when I start the day is get my cash from the head checker. In a busy week, $5,000 or more may pass through my register. Handling it accurately is one of my biggest responsibilities. Once I've got my money counted out and correct, I put my register through a daily inspection. Is there enough tape? Is it dated correctly? Is the register plugged in? Is it zeroed? I always check supplies now when there's time to replace needed items. Are there enough bags to last? I don't want to run out later. I always try to remember that I'm dealing with food. That means that my stand has to be spotless. My merchandise racks must also be in good order before the day begins. The last thing I check is the most important, myself. Appearance means a lot on this job.
Thorough preparation is a mark of every good checker. When the day begins, Miss Jones is ready. The idea is to keep that green light on, to keep the lane moving. But that's not as easy as it may sound. There are times when caution is necessary. And sometimes you must stop altogether. The important thing is knowing the difference. But so long as you observe the basics, things will keep moving smoothly. Watch an expert.
The first order of business is to greet the customer. Then comes an important moment of caution. Is the bottom of the cart empty? I always make certain there are no missed items that might get through unchecked, and ring this up as a signal to myself that I've checked the cart. And most importantly, I keep it pleasant and matter-of-fact. No customer likes to think she is suspected of shoplifting. Ring up the right price and press the right department key. These keys are important to the store's records and planning. Checkers are bookkeepers, too. Multiple priced items should be checked together. Try to hold the first items in this group until they can all be checked through at once. Multiple pricing used to frighten me. I'm not much on fractions. Now when I see an incomplete group like this, I just slow down a second to be sure I've got the price right. This is what the fraction chart is for, and I use it. There's no such thing as an almost right in this business. If I overcharge, I cheat the customer. If I undercharge, I'm unfair to the store. Fractions mean you charge the next penny. Dropping the fraction can be costly. It might well represent the entire profit on this order.
Here's another pricing problem, a price smeared beyond recognition. How do you decipher it?
This is one time I stop everything. I don't guess. I ring for my supervisor and set the smeared item aside until she comes. In the meantime, I can continue putting the rest of the order through. Although I study the prices and know the specials, I'm always on the lookout for certain booby traps. Some items, like soups, have different prices for different types. Others have identical package designs, but different prices. For instance, pineapple chunks at 39 cents and crushed pineapple at 33 cents. It sometimes seems like a lot of worry about a few pennies, but think a minute. With a store's profit margin of about 1.25%, a checker error of only 30 cents means that about $25 worth of groceries must be sold before the store regains the loss.
It's more than just pennies. It's a question of your store's success or failure. And once the order is checked, there are still some important jobs to be done. Handling money is one of a checker's greatest responsibilities, and sometimes one of the most difficult. Handling money is largely a matter of knowing the rules and following them to the letter.
There are many systems, but generally your stores will be similar to this. Defer coupons until the order is paid for. Know your store's policy on check cashing and follow it closely. As you accept the customer's money, call the out of amount, such as $12.38 out of 20. Put the check or bill onto the slab and count the change to yourself, then to your customer. And never forget, thank you. Lastly, put the money from the slab into the register. And never leave your position with your register open. Coupons are simple if you handle them right. After the customer has paid the regular price for her order, check her coupons against the purchased items. Sometimes people haven't actually bought the goods specified on the coupon. Total the coupons, take the cash, and refund it to the customer, remembering to do so with a smile. This system makes your job easier and lets the customer know her coupons were credited. Trading stamps are simple too. Be accurate, and remember, they are money. Giving a customer more than she is entitled to costs the store.
The final job of a checker is one that most checkers like least, but it's also one of the most important.
I guess I can't say I've ever enjoyed packing an order, but I know how much depends on it. It's one part of the store the customer takes home with her. Beginning with the right size bag, I pack heavy to light. That's also the way I'd send the order through if a bagger were working with me. After a solid base is made up with cans and other heavy items, I build up the sides with flats, putting glass and other fragile items in the center for protection. Meat, frozen foods, and ice cream should always be wrapped separately. Finally, light crushables go on top.
Knowing the fundamentals makes the job easier and helps you to do it better. But there's one area of checking where each girl brings something special to her job, where there are no universal guidelines. Personality is something every good checker develops on her own. She learns to communicate a comfortable pleasantness to her customers, making them feel that the store regards them as something special. A smile is always part of the uniform. The job is easier when you do it right, and people are generally nicer to deal with when you treat them right. Checking is never going to be an easy job. The responsibilities are too great. Just consider how much work a good checker does on a busy day, putting through up to 360 orders, checking some 7,000 separate items. You have to be good and develop good habits, such as maintaining space between unchecked items and those that have been checked. These girls are among the best. It takes skill and practice to get this good, and a lot of effort. But the basics are simple. Slow down when the situation calls for extra care. Stop completely on those few occasions that require it, and keep the flow moving the rest of the time, swiftly, accurately, and pleasantly. Remembering the fundamentals may make Miss Jones a Checker of the Year one day. It might do the same for you. This battle is won on the front line. It's here that the customer has her last important contact with the store. To a large extent, a checker's actions determine whether a shopper will be back. It's a difficult job at times, but learning the skills we've seen demonstrated will help assure that it's done right and will make your task much easier. In your store, you are a vital member of the team. By always observing the fundamentals, you'll be doing your part on the front line.
These are the hands of a master chef. Monsieur René Verdon, chef to famous hotels and restaurants in Paris and New York, and former chef to the White House. A master chef who knows the importance of the art of carving.
No matter how you prepare meat, its final appetite appeal depends on how well it is carved.
Any food, meat in particular, must appeal first to the eye. Chefs in commercial kitchens know this. Whether carving a pork loin or a leg of lamb, they know cuts should be consistently smooth and even, that each portion should look tender and appetizing. A good chef knows the importance of economy, too. Meat must be carved attractively, but profitably, with a minimum of waste. And the more easily it is done, the better.
That's why I use the new Hamilton Beach commercial electric knife. Here is a knife that every chef and everyone in the kitchen who carves or cuts will appreciate.
More than any other knife, the Hamilton Beach commercial electric knife will help you make short, clean work of all your carving, slice after slice, at exactly the thickness you want, with less waste of meat, and with much less work on your part. The Hamilton Beach knife is a clean-cutting, easy knife to use and control. And not just for carving meat, but for any other cutting job that has to be done in the commercial kitchen. The new Hamilton Beach commercial electric knife is heavy-duty and built to last. It's the new big brother to the popular consumer knife, the one with the famous hole in the handle, a design that makes both knives unique. The moment you take it in your hand, even if your hand is wet or greasy, you appreciate the balanced, non-slip grip. In fact, this knife is so well balanced that women use it with the greatest of ease. With the weight below the hand, the knife literally holds itself in a comfortable carving position, even for horizontal slicing. In the Hamilton Beach commercial electric knife, it's the blades that turn, not the knife. Simply snap lock them into a vertical or horizontal position with a simple turn of the turret. For left-handed slicing, merely insert the blades upside down and turn or rotate the blades normally. The on-off button is conveniently located under your thumb. A safety trigger locks the off position until you grip the handle. It is no problem at all to control the thickness of each portion. The slice indicator, attached to the turret, measures the desired thickness of each cut, slice after slice. Whatever the meat, the effortless, accurate cutting action is always the same. This action is particularly important in carving such meats as corned beef. With a regular knife, the meat is apt to move on the cutting board. The results are often uneven. But with the reciprocal cutting action of the Hamilton Beach commercial electric knife, there is no heavy knife pressure to make control of the meat difficult. The meat is lightly held, and the edges of each slice are firm and clean cut. The versatile Hamilton Beach knife is ideal, too, for cubing raw meat for stews and ragouts. The indicator guide assures uniformity of pieces. Ease of cutting speeds this operation. The delicate task of cutting fish is a snap with this versatile, convenient tool. When slices are extra thin, there is little or no waste. Hamilton Beach portion control means extra sandwiches, too, from every cut of meat, no matter what it is. Savings like these add up fast. When sandwiches are made, stack them up and cut several at once. The electric knife goes through them as if they were butter. Wherever you need a knife, to carve or to cut, you can do the job better, faster, and more easily with a Hamilton Beach commercial electric knife. Tomatoes, cucumbers, green peppers, pickles, celery, and many other vegetables. Name it. The reciprocal action of the blades takes the work out of cutting or carving. Fruits, pineapples, grapefruit, oranges, lemons, avocados, bananas, soft fruits or firm, pears, delicate fruits or fruits with thick skins. They're all the same to the Hamilton Beach Commercial Electric Knife. Cheese, any kind that stands up to the cutting edge of a knife, and even those that tend to crumble or collapse, will cut more easily with a Hamilton Beach Commercial Electric Knife. The most delicate pastries, cakes, bread, whatever their consistency. No cutting pressure is necessary as with conventional knives. The cutting is done by reciprocating blades. They don't press, they cut. Each knife comes complete with 2 sets of stainless steel blades, extra wide and extra long, with a full 10.5 inches of cutting edge. Blades are released by pressing the release button safely located underneath the housing. Blades must be in a vertical position. To put them back, you simply snap them into place. No fear of an electric shock with a Hamilton Beach Commercial Electric Knife. Your hands are completely insulated from all electrical contact. Every part of the Hamilton Beach is of heavy-duty construction. A powerful motor in a durable case is made to handle the heaviest workload of the busiest commercial kitchen. The new Hamilton Beach Commercial Electric Knife has been thoroughly tested in a wide variety of applications, from large hotels and restaurants to the smallest of lunch counters and delicatessens. Everywhere the reaction is the same. Now that we have tried the Hamilton Beach Commercial Electric Knife, we could never be without it. Unskilled help can be taught to use it within minutes. It's like adding another pair of skilled hands at unskilled cost. Or for tableside carving. Experience has proven that diners love to watch this efficient, beautifully designed knife in action. Here is everything you could ask for, and more than you will ever get from an ordinary knife. Safety, durability, and greater than ever convenience. Ask a master chef who knows.
I am proud to use this new electric knife. It is not a complicated device, foreign to a carver's habits and techniques. It is a step forward in the art of carving, a great help in every kitchen cutting job. Everything you do with an ordinary knife you can do better, more easily, and more profitably with an Hamilton Beach Commercial Electric Knife.
Did you ever have to make a meal in 20 minutes, literally from the time you entered the kitchen until the meal was ready to serve? Well, Sally Gasco did once, when the schedule for a before-supper football game and an after-supper movie got a little confused. She wasn't in too much of a hurry, though, and you should never be, thoroughly before starting to the meal. Because Sally is rapidly learning homemaking, she knows most of the basic techniques of good kitchen behavior and knows how to use the tools of the craft. But to get a meal in a hurry, something more is required. In this case, a little intelligent pre-preparation. In a convenient corner of the Gasco kitchen is an emergency shelf of canned and packaged goods appropriate to a quick meal. Here's where Mother also tucks away a spare collection of cleansers. The foods include canned soup, cooked meats, stews, any good packaged food which will keep indefinitely. Sally decides upon corned beef hash and hot date pudding for dessert. Other ingredients for the meal, corn on the cob and green peas, will come from the frozen food storage compartment of the refrigerator. The Gascos keep this shelf full of the modern frozen foods, which are not only useful in general, but especially so for quick meals. The basic meal, the hash, corn, peas, with a little cheese to spark up the flavor of the hash, are spread out on the work shelf along with the utensils she will need. Time to go to work. High time even. 3 minutes suffice to get all the packages open and the contents out in pans and cooking. Another convenient thing to remember in this quick cookery is that vegetables are best to eat and best for you if they are cooked a minimum length of time. In the case of frozen vegetables, the time is even shorter. The pudding goes into the oven, where it will warm slightly while they are eating the main course. Sally will serve it with cream. There's no time for fancy sauces. How's the time going? Well, fast, but not too fast. It's time to serve, and Sally is going to be able to keep that 6 o'clock deadline. Mostly, to be honest, because of intelligent marketing, rather than any great show of speed right now. While she's serving, we might remember, as she's doing, how it's possible to cook a meal quickly. Knowing how to handle the equipment involved in cooking, to use the utensils deftly, and to use them for the purpose for which they were designed, is a matter of practice and a question of technique. When the need of the moment is for fast, efficient cooking, a modern gas range can be the most important piece of equipment in the kitchen. "6 o'clock, and there we are. It's possible to make a meal in 20 minutes if, first, you're well grounded in good kitchen techniques and have the right tools with which to work at the time. And second, if you're foresighted enough to purchase and keep in a special emergency shelf in your cupboard and a storage shelf of your refrigerator, a good supply of those modern foods which have taken most of the terrors out of cooking against a deadline.
The potato was brought from its native home in Peru to Spain and in time back to America and now spreads its green over countless acres throughout the world. A universal food for the millions and the millionaires. Not all the gold that Pizarro plundered from the Incas can compare with the wealth that a peaceful monk took from Peru, impoverishing no one but enriching all mankind. Whether in the shadows of the Grand Tetons or in the arid Southwest, the potato is at home. It thrives in any temperate zone and in varieties which have been produced by the conjoint influences of man, environment, and climate, differentiated during nearly 400 years by patient scientific endeavor. And not by any easy way has the potato been preserved from the bugs, blights, and banes which have assailed it down the centuries. Enemies that threaten every phase of its life from seed to service. Whether the potatoes are to be grown for certified seed, to be sold to commercial growers, or for the market, most of the procedures are identical for identical local conditions. This field will perhaps be worked several times before planting. Note that 2 operations proceed at once. A harrow follows the plow, conditioning the soil to a finely prepared seedbed, as in this before and after scene. This great field will produce thousands of bags of commercial potatoes, the ultimate of large-scale operations. In this operation, the soil is well pulverized. With different types of soil in other localities, a firmer seed bed may be desired. Therefore, the soil may not be worked so intensively. Pre-irrigation is common practice where the soil is deficient in moisture at the time of seed bed preparation. It aids in the proper preparation of the soil. It speeds the breakdown of organic matter. It aids bacterial growth and stores moisture for the plant to use. After plowing comes disking and harrowing, breaking up the veins of channeled moisture into friable uniformity ready for seeding. In some areas, alfalfa, previously enriched by phosphates, is plowed under to add rich, water-holding humus. Good manure, high in nitrogen content, reinforces the nitrogen placed in the soil by the disintegrating alfalfa. Roots, leaves, stems, the entire plant of nitrogen-rich alfalfa is plowed under to aid bacterial action, improve soil structure, increase water-holding capacity, promote aeration, and provide a constant supply of food for the growing plant. No farm practice does more for the soil. Thorough disking of the field firms the seed bed by filling up the air pockets. These weak plants grew from virus-infected seed. These healthy plants from good seed. The battle to produce good seed is part of the battle against disease. And here will be determined the character of future potato crops. For this is the unfolding of a program to produce indexed foundation seed for certified seed growers who produce seed for table stock, seed with a pedigree. The seed piece from each potato is identified by the number on the belt, and the knife is sterilized to prevent spread of disease. The potato will be stored after being given the number of the seed piece. These in lots of 100 each will then be ready for planting. Note that the potato and the removed seed piece remain together on the numbered space until each has taken its number from that checkered square. This is important, for the integrity of the certified seed depends on the accuracy of the identifying numbers. To the figures on the moving belt are added the hundreds as the operation continues until 1,000 potatoes have been cut. The numbered parent tubers are stored 100 in a box, and the burlap is sprayed with water to hasten suberization or healing. The one on the left has been suberized, the other freshly cut. Meanwhile, the index seed pieces are being placed numerically in the 100 squares of a planting board. When the board is filled with each seed piece on the squares correspondingly numbered from 1 to 100, accuracy is ensured. The seed pieces, thus double-checked, are ready for planting. This is done in plots of 100 each, the rows corresponding to the rows of the planting board. 10 rows in the plot are identical with the 10 rows of the board, and a glance will reveal the identity of each plant as it thrusts its hurried way through the friendly soil. In this row begins the next 100th index seed piece. Each 100th plant will be disclosed by the stake at the end. Another version of the established greenhouse of glass. This economical cloth-covered shelter is easily re-established in new areas from year to year where the soil is relatively disease-free. Under such stimulating conditions, plant growth is rapid. Soon it is time to check each plant, the number of which corresponds to that on the parent tuber kept in storage. Here he finds a diseased plant, Mosaic. 106 is as revealing as a rogues gallery number, and the parent in the cellar is already doomed by the number of the diseased plant, which is registered on the chart. The FBI shows no greater relentlessness running down criminals. The virus diseases against which indexing is a safeguard reduce the yield, but do not render potatoes unfit for eating. Back in the cellar, each guilty parent is put in condemned row and will be destroyed. And there they are. Potatoes 108 and 106 are mosaic-infected tubers. With the diseased parents eliminated, the rest have been certified disease-free by nature, and are ready to be planted by foundation seed growers, their progeny destined to be certified seeds. With all the diseased parent tubers removed, only healthy ones remain. The seed pieces cut from each parent tuber are carefully placed together in a hallock, one tuber to each hallock. This tractor-drawn assisted seed planter is used in the operation of tuber unit planting. The seed pieces are dropped into adjoining compartments with an empty one in between to mark each parent unit. As the machine proceeds, the seed pieces are dropped into place, and each empty pocket will space the units clearly. Thus, should any seed piece yield a diseased plant, all the other plants from that particular parent will be destroyed. Index planting in a greenhouse is identical with the index system we have seen. Research workers of state colleges and federal agencies, Union Pacific agricultural agents, and growers associations all participate in this improvement of foundation seed stock. This special adaptation is also for tuber unit planting. The seed potatoes of uniform size are cut into 4 pieces on the planter. Forcing the potatoes against the blades, the seed pieces slide into the 4 cups and into the ground. Spacing is also automatic, and errors in planting are impossible. A jet of disinfectant from this tank on the front of the planter sterilizes the blades after every cut. Planting in groups of 4, as indicated by the space between units, enables the grower to remove suspected plants whose common parent has yielded the diseased one. Roguing the field to eliminate diseased plants is necessary in order to produce a field which will be certified by state inspection. In the later roguing, the tiny diseased tubers must be removed. Here the inspector, with the grower, is giving the field a preliminary going over. Even though he may be obliged to withhold certification of the crop, he remains the grower's friend. Both understand that the very existence of the potato is threatened in this ceaseless struggle of science versus disease. Several official inspections may be necessary before the field is certified. The closest scrutiny of plants and careful notes provide the inspector with a case history. The percentages of the diseases found are recorded. In these test plots, the suitability of various seed lots for commercial plantings is being determined. On the right, a diseased row shows a high infestation of mosaic. On the left is a healthy row. These scrawny ones are afflicted with mosaic, a virus disease. These are perfectly healthy. Reduction of yield is shown by the smaller tubers on the right from a mosaic-infected plant. In his greenhouse, the grower can determine the types and percentage of diseases with which his seed may be infected. Compare the mosaic leaves with the healthy plant on the right. The entire mosaic plant is unhealthy and will be eliminated. A well-defined case of witch's broom, contrasted with a healthy, thriving plant. Leaf roll is shown on the right, as may be seen by the rolled leaves, which are typical of this virus disease. Blackleg has gripped this plant. It is a bacterial disease blackening the stem near the soil line. This manifestation is clearly seen in the advanced stages. These rotted portions of the stem testify to its deadly virulence. Spindle tuber, the disease affecting this spindly plant, tends to reduce the grower's yield. Their shape inspired the name, spindle. This contrast between a normal potato and a spindle tuber clearly shows the grower's loss. A sinister plague called rhizoctonia goes on beneath the surface of the ground, destroying the plant through progressive rotting of its stems before they emerge from the soil. This plant has been hit by ring rot. Verticillium wilt, or early dying, like ring rot, may strike entire fields. And here is ring rot again, manifesting itself in its early stages in this scented plant, which quickly will lie prostrate and dead as the disease continues its fatal advances. Laboratory tests may be necessary to determine the presence of ring rot, which, because it is so insidious, is one of the potato grower's most serious menaces. The juice from the plant stem smeared onto the slide and stained reveals no ring rot. The red in this case indicates not danger but safety. This slide definitely indicates the presence of ring rot. The tiny black dots are ring rot organisms. Literally, it is the black plague, ring rot, which is betrayed to the eye of science long before the plant itself reveals the slightest evidence of its own approaching doom. As the disease advances, and while it still shows no visible signs to the naked eye, it is nevertheless at its deadly work, hence its name, this fatal rotting ring of death. As the disease continues its ravages, its presence produces unmistakable external manifestations of an inner corruption, until at last it is done for, a loathsome finish, a threatened famine maker. Small growers find this rotary disc seed cutter good equipment. The blade is sterilized in boiling water beneath the table. Stationary knives are satisfactory if seed potatoes are relatively disease-free. Here, potatoes are brought from the storage room to be run through sprays of cleansing water. On their continued way to the cutting table, they will be subjected to a disinfecting bath. This is it, and a thorough job is done on any lurking organism. 5 women here are cutting seed. Note the rhythmic performance of this fast operator. Cutting potatoes by note, so to speak, really makes for efficient operation. The sacks of seed we have seen cut have been kept under canvas to protect them from excessive drying. Continuing operations in the field where alfalfa and barnyard manure were turned under is a 2-row picker-type planter. Though the alfalfa has been turned under less than 24 hours, it'll be broken down for plant food by the time the plants need it. Where a particularly heavy stand of alfalfa is plowed under, it is the practice in some areas to let the ground stand several days before planting. Generally speaking, the time lapse between cutting the seed and planting should be brief. This 4-row high-speed picker planter, in extensive areas of radically different soil, deposits the seed pieces and fertilizer at the same time. Once the numerous and extra capacious bins are filled from a field delivery truck. Commercial fertilizers are used more extensively in some areas, depending on soil conditions. This equipment answers all requirements of speed. It plants the seed pieces, it drops the fertilizer, and it covers both with soil, which in this case, unfortified by fertilizer, would not produce a satisfactory crop. Fertilizer and seed are being covered, the soil serving to contain the fertilizer against the time when the growing plant needs its nourishment. The rotating pickers on the wheel give the equipment its name, as they speedily pick up and deposit the seed pieces in the soil in close proximity to the water-soluble fertilizer. This is indispensable for good plant growth and a satisfactorily maturing of this particular crop. Here the hill has been cut away to show the 2 bands of fertilizer and the seed pieces which they'll nourish with the laying on of water. Emergence of plants, though deeply sown, will be quickened by the conditioning of the soil and the certainty of adequate water through controlled irrigation. God helps those who help themselves, and the cup of his abundance runneth over. Irrigation, which paces the growth of the entire plant, can be regulated more effectively by man than by nature. Here, every other row, every other day can be served by waters controlled at the head gate. The amount of water needed is determined by the soil texture and rate of evaporation. Note the secondary ditch on the right with its evenly spaced pipes, which enable the grower to remain master of the flow of water to his plants through a constant level of supply. The pipes prevent breaking down of the ditch sides, while the secondary ditches are terraced to correct the necessary angle of flow in the long main ditch. Every row irrigation is common in many sections where water is applied less frequently. This is the field, however, in which alfalfa was plowed under, rendering the soil abundantly absorbent, as can be seen. With initial irrigations in soil so conditioned by humus, irrigation of every other row provides sufficient moisture due to the high absorption quality and increased water holding capacity. Digging away the topsoil clearly shows the extent of moisture penetration. With the same type of soil but lacking in humus, every row application of water is necessary from the start. Cultivating controls weeds and provides furrows for irrigation. It also builds the ridges over the potatoes, preventing sunburn. In dry farming, cultivation destroys weeds, thereby conserving moisture. This cultivator, equipped with duck feet, cuts the weeds, breaks the crust, and stirs up the soil, ensuring better absorption of water when it rains. Over and under spraying under high pressure will not miss a bud. A watcher is on the job to see that every spray is on the job. Insect poison may be served to the customers by dusting instead of spraying. Here the farmer has contrived an ingenious canvas covering which protects the operation even in a wind. This may be one of several such poison dustings if infestations are bad enough to require them. Additional nozzles to give more complete coverage are often used for other types of insects. Harvesting time means long hours in the field. These men start work as soon as the sun has warmed the air. There's a minimum of bruising as the digger reaches underneath the potatoes, drawing them forth cushioned by their own vines and soil. An injured potato is a ruined potato commercially. Getting it out of the soil unharmed is only the first problem. Note that the potatoes make but a short drop from the endless chain. On the ground, they are retrieved by pickers who know that a bruised potato in the field means a damaged one in the storage warehouse. The wire baskets are covered with rubber. To prevent damage to easily bruised potatoes, haste must not make waste. In transferring potatoes from baskets to sacks, care is taken that they don't have far to fall. When potatoes are ready to harvest, a rotobeater may be used to break off the vines at ground level and pulverize them. The machine has corded rubber fingers that revolve rapidly, flailing and destroying all top growth. It hastens potato maturity and leaves the ground free of troublesome vines, simplifying the digging operation. Undercutting also kills the vines and thereby hastens maturity of the potatoes by reducing the moisture supply. But not always can care and solicitude for a spud's welfare result in a crop like this. It's a fine crop of netted gems, copious and wonderful in size and conformation. A fast, widely used picking method utilizes sacks suspended on a two-hook belt. In some sections, a canvas sack is used to prevent windburn. From field to storage cellar, a truck will take the sacked potatoes for a ride made comfortable by the padded truck bottom. Padding on the truck is one of the best ways to reduce damage to the potatoes. It also speeds loading operations. This method of stacking the potatoes is the result of long experience too. The objective is to distribute pressures evenly throughout the load, for it is obvious that there'll be rough going from field to storage. Here's a high-speed two-row digger getting early potatoes out of the ground in a hurry. In this extensive operation, the potatoes are destined for early market, and speed is the essence of success. It is necessary that the tender potatoes be quickly picked up to avoid the ravages of wind and sun. The field has been hard hit by a timely frost and all the vines are dead. The peg-tooth harrow with teeth slanted well back breaks them up, leaving a dust cloud in its hurried wake. This is a single-row potato digger and sacker. The machine's digging blades reach well below the tubers and lift them onto a conveyor, the crossbars of which permit the loose dirt to sift through. The crossbars are rubber-covered to prevent bruising of the potatoes. They continue on to a table where vines and remaining clods are removed. By this rapid process, which sacks the potatoes on the combine, time and labor are saved in harvesting this field, which yielded 350 100-pound sacks to the acre. The grade, incidentally, was better than 90% U.S. number 1, a profitable crop and ready now for removal to the storage cellar. This machine effects a fast and efficient operation. Composed of a 2-row digger and elevator, it is ideal for handling potatoes in bulk. As a chain conveyor carries the potatoes up the elevator, it shakes out the dirt. The potatoes continue on across a table where men remove the residue of small clods and vines. On reaching the top of the elevator, the potatoes drop into a truck moving alongside. This machine should prove economical where large acreage warrants its use. The bottom of this newly designed potato truck is actually an endless belt conveyor. Upon delivering spuds for storage, the motor-controlled conveyor in the bottom of the truck is started and moves the spuds out into a hopper, from which they are conveyed up to huge holding bins. The bottom of the bins are also equipped with conveyor belts, which move the potatoes to various parts of the building. Bulk storage enables the grower to handle potatoes in large volume, quickly and efficiently, with a minimum of labor. The cleaning process starts with dropping the potatoes down a chute, the bottom of which is screened, permitting loose dirt to sift through. They then continue on to be graded. Market requirements necessitate the use of storage cellars, many of which are underground or half-subterranean. This is a sort of half-and-half type with soil heaped on the curving roof. In some places, the underground storage has given way to this cement type of above-ground storage, many of which are found along the Union Pacific tracks enjoying its fast service. Such storage facilities reduce the hazards of long truck hauls at market time in winter and greatly reduce time in getting potatoes from the storage cellar to your table and mine. The first leg of that important journey is now ended, while the second leg of steel is all steamed up and ready to go. Built for bulk storage, this type permits trucks to back into the bins and exit quickly when unloaded. The sacked potatoes are emptied onto a conveyor or piler. Bins, when filled, are boarded up until the potatoes are to be removed. Some varieties, such as Bliss Triumph, require more care in handling. If the potatoes are handled in sacks, hand trucks convey them to the washer and grader when the grower orders them out for these necessary pre-market operations. This trough, built in the floor of the storage plant, floats the potatoes from storage rooms to be graded. They are washed as they float along until they come to a concrete basin at the foot of a conveyor. Little time is lost as they are lifted and carried to the grading table. Running the gauntlet of watchful eyes, quick to detect for removal undersized below-grade potatoes. The rubber pads are designed to offset the length of the fall. The graded potatoes, now sacked, are removed to the weighing platforms where a special padded frame reduces the shock of jigging. This barrel washer is but one of several used in different types of grading equipment. It feeds directly to an elevator, thence to the grading table. Careful designing of washing and grading layouts is disclosed in this view of one type of grader. Many objectives are kept in mind to facilitate and therefore speed the operations. Here, the potatoes are being waxed in order to preserve their moisture content. The element of time becomes most important when speed is required to reach an advantageous market suddenly developed. Paper bags are used in many sacking operations. They are of sturdy construction and afford the potatoes ample protection. This revolving circular table not only speeds up the filling of bags, but provides a package of potatoes of convenient size for the housewife to carry comfortably. The open mesh cotton bags afford easy inspection of contents. Watch this crew of speeders working with modern time-saving equipment. Rubber belts throughout are used. Early white rows, new potatoes dug in the morning, are on Pacific Fruit Express refrigerator cars before dark. Sackers keep pace with the sorters, for no equipment is better than its crew. No, it's not an exhibition, it's just routine, steady efficiency, paced by the equipment designed by engineers who really believe that time is money. Speed and safety are prime considerations in the Union Pacific service of linking producers with markets and getting the product there in good condition. Let's get aboard this potato special for a moment and see how the potatoes are scientifically loaded in the cars. Careful loading of bags is essential to prevent damage. Floor pads evenly spaced reduce bruising and permit air circulation. The 450-bag late crop load is started by stowing 5 bags upright against the bunker wall. The crosswise bags make a solid foundation, and the load builds rapidly with some sacks going into the stack lengthwise to interlock the load, thereby minimizing the possibility of bags shifting in transit. In building the 360-bag winter load, 5 bags are again placed upright against the bunker wall. The load builds up with the positions of the lengthwise bags reversed to prevent shifting. The airspace between bags and car walls reduces the possibility of freezing. Fall and spring styles for the 360-bag load call for more ventilation. Therefore, the bags are carefully spaced like this. Five upright bags again begin the formation of the 300-bag summer load. They are evenly spaced to form air channels throughout the load. The horizontal bags tie the load so that contact with sidewalls is avoided, reducing bruising of potatoes and chafing of sacks. The 300-bag summer load is quickly made into the 360-bag summer load by adding 1 bag on each side. In summer, ice prevents overheating of potatoes, and in the winter, heaters give protection from the cold. This system of loading, developed by the Union Pacific Railroad in cooperation with shippers to reduce loss from damage, is only one of the many ways this railroad works with agricultural interests along its lines. Whatever the crop, in whatever time of year, the Union Pacific gets it to the wholesale market with no loss of time. And the next stop in the journey takes us into the retail store, which has thus been speedily reached by rail. Over 1,000 carloads of potatoes are consumed in the United States every day. And now the destiny of the potato is fulfilled.
With the holiday close at hand, we're all looking forward to the tradition of roast turkey and all its trimmings. This is the year of the handy turkey. You know, much easier to get out of the store and into the car and so forth. Part of the excitement of the holiday feast is watching the host carve his way through the turkey. To help make this a success at your house, we're going to get some first-hand points today on how to carve from culinary expert Miss Martha Logan. She'll be talking to us on the phone direct from the kitchens of Swift & Company in Chicago. But first, let's look at this short film that will cover all of the key points.
The turkey should be placed so that the breast will be to the carver's left. With the tip of the knife, cut the strip of skin holding the legs in place. Now, press the drumstick outward with a fork or your left hand. Place the knife between the thigh and the body and slash through the skin to the joint. Keep that outward pressure constant while you're making this cut, and the entire leg will separate from the body. The upper thigh joint will come out so that you can cut it free with your knife. That was easy, wasn't it? So was this next cut, separating the thigh from the drumstick. You make your first cut in the angle between the two. Just press the edge of your knife in until you feel the joint. Now for the breast. Take your fork, put it firmly into the wing, and press it away from the body. With your knife, make a long cut just above the wing joint, cutting in all the way to the bone. When that cut is made, the breast is ready for carving. Start about halfway up the breast and slice straight down toward that cut above the wing joint. When your knife reaches the cut, the slices will fall free. Each succeeding slice of white meat is started higher on the breast until the crest of the bone is reached.
So there you are, and it looks very simple, doesn't it? Now let's talk to Miss Martha Logan directly from the kitchens of Swift & Company in Chicago. And how are you, Martha?
I'm just fine, thank you. How are you?
Well, it's a pleasure to talk to you in Chicago today. How's the weather there?
Oh, it's kind of cold, and we have a few snow flurries.
Well, we don't have the snow flurries, but it's a little chilly here. Now, I want to ask a few questions, Martha.
All right.
Is it good practice to start carving the turkey as soon as you take it out of the oven?
No, it's best to let the turkey rest, as we say, for about 15 to 20 minutes.
Martha, do you think that the wife should always ask her husband to carve the turkey?
Of course she should. Carving, you know, is a skill that's very easily acquired. Of course, a sharp knife and a long-tine fork will help, and it also helps if the hostess puts the turkey on a large enough platter. That gives the host a little room to work in.
I see. Now, my wife always asked me to do the carving, but I generally butcher it up quite well. But we managed to eat it just the same. So now, let's have these first pictures that you're going to describe. The first one is on the screen now.
All right. This one shows the first step in carving a turkey, and that's removing the drumstick. You place the knife between the thigh and the body of the turkey and cut through the skin right down to the joint. Now, separate the leg from the body by pressing that leg outward with the knife during cutting and by bending the leg back away from the body with the fork or with your left hand. Now, the next picture shows the trick to slicing the white meat on the breast of the bird. Insert the fork firmly into the upper wing and press the wing away from the body. And with the knife, make a long cut just above the wing joint right through to the body frame. And in this next picture, you make the first slice. You begin halfway up the breast and slice downward with straight, even strokes. And when the knife reaches the cut that you made above the wing bone, the slice of white meat will fall free. And now this last picture shows how you continue to slice the white meat. You begin the next cut at a higher point each time and continue to slice the breast meat until you reach the crest of the bone. And that's how easy it is to carve a turkey in just 4 simple steps.
Martha, I know it sounds very simple, and I don't have too much trouble with the breast, but how about slicing the dark meat on the leg?
Well, that's a simple matter, too. You can just disjoint the thigh from the drumstick and then slice the dark meat right on a separate plate, of course.
Now I have a couple of basic questions, Martha, and the first one is, how do you know what size turkey to buy for your family?
Well, there's a very simple guide to follow, and that is to allow 1.5 pounds of the ready-to-stuff turkey and 1.5 to 2 pounds of the already stuffed turkey per person.
Then if you have a family of 4, you'd only need about a 10-pound bird. Do you have to account for the drift or the loss from bone?
Oh, there's small loss, but not too much. And this guide that I gave you, the 1.5 pounds of the ready-to-stuff turkey per person, that allows for plenty of nibbles and good second-day dishes.
Well, that's one of my problems, Martha, in that there's just 2 of us, and if I buy a 10 or 12-pound bird, I may have turkey for a week.
Oh, well, it's a good idea if you have a freezer to freeze the leftovers and then wait for a week or two before you have some of those delicious second-day dishes.
Now, one other thing, Martha. How do you know when the turkey is done just right?
Well, there are two tests that you can make. One is the pinch test, as we call it. You cover your fingers with a paper towel and pinch the thickest portion of the drumstick. And the turkey is done if that meat feels very soft. Now, the other test is with the meat thermometer, which you insert into the thigh muscle next to the body cavity. This is the portion of the turkey that's last to cook done. And the temperature should read about 185 degrees for the turkey to be taken from the oven.
Well, Martha, you've been very informative, and I want to thank you a million for being with me this afternoon. And I hope you have a very happy holiday.
Well, thank you, and the same to you and all your viewers.
And goodbye now, Martha.
Goodbye.
Now, if you would like to learn how to carve a turkey correctly, call or write for a free copy. Turkey carving is a gentlemanly art, and it's yours free. All you do is dial Trinity 21141 or 872-1141 immediately after the broadcast, and we will be happy to mail this to you, and it shows you the various steps to take in carving a turkey. It'd make you a much better carver. I know it did me. This is a complimentary of Swift & Company. To get your copy, be sure and dial Trinity 21141. Put your name and address on a card and address it to Turkey Carving, WAII, Atlanta, Georgia. Now, we'll go to the booth.
This portion of your home show is sent your way with the good wishes of Atlanta Flooring Company, highlighting the Christmas floor show of gifts for the lady of the house. Men, stay tuned for a heart-to-heart talk with Bill Cleveland. He has some terrific ideas that will keep the sparkle of Christmas alive in your home all year long.
This is a story of a holiday and home. Helping make ready a celebration is part of the fun. Especially for one of the nicest days of the year, Thanksgiving. There is happiness in the air, and the smell of turkey. That does look good. Thanksgiving is a day for the best of everything. And friends invited to dinner. We remember the Pilgrims had only rough tables on which to serve the first Thanksgiving feast, yet it was shared with friendly Indians. good to share a holiday with friends. And it is good to have friends like to come to our home. Good manners make people happy, and good table manners make eating together a happy time. We are thankful for our home and our happy meal. We are glad we have good table manners and know what to do with a napkin. And how to use a spoon in eating soup easily without noise. It just wouldn't be Thanksgiving without turkey. We know Mother knows how to cook it. And Father knows how to carve it. It is fine to know how to sit up and watch it being carved. You would know this is a holiday plate. At the first Thanksgiving dinner, the Indians didn't eat turkey with a fork. But it is easy to learn to use one the right way, to take small mouthfuls. And how to butter and eat bread in small bites, so we never have to talk with food in our mouths. It is good to have learned to chew with lips closed and know when to take a drink. Good table manners keep our meals happy meals, and those who eat with us happy. Learning to use a knife the right way takes practice, yet each time we do, it becomes easier. What to do with a knife and fork, even when finished using them, is part of eating well. Holidays are days to be glad, And all good manners are ways to make people glad. We like to offer help, or to help when asked. It is nice to talk with others and to know when to wait and listen. We are glad to eat neatly, without spots. Holidays are fun. And it is good to be part of a celebration. It is fine to have learned so much and to have so much in our home to make holiday celebrations happy. Now, could you wish for more?
This is the sad story of Eleanor Jones. Eleanor is spending a few days at the hospital. She really didn't intend to come to the hospital, but just a few days ago, something happened. Eleanor decided to clean the top of the kitchen cupboards. There was a stepladder in the basement, but Eleanor just didn't want to take the trouble. Careful, Eleanor, careful. So Eleanor has a chance for some extra reading. What are you reading, Eleanor? Yes, Eleanor has learned her lesson. But how about you? Do you know how to play safe in the kitchen? One of the first things to remember is to arrange your kitchen as conveniently and as efficiently as possible. In this way, you avoid those extra steps which cause fatigue and thus reduce the possibility of an accident. Store the things you use near the place you intend to use them. And by all means, store poisons, extra matches, and other dangerous items far above the reach of children. Keep those cupboard doors closed. A bump on the head probably won't send you to the hospital, but it will be painful just the same. Small accidents will happen occasionally, but don't let them become major ones. Wipe up that grease spot immediately before you have a chance to forget about it. A knife is a dangerous weapon if not treated with the proper respect. Strangely enough, a sharp knife is less dangerous than a dull one. Since less force is required to use a sharp knife, it is less likely to slip. Whenever possible, use the knife so that the direction of force is away from the body. Then if the knife should slip, it'll do no great damage. And keep those fingers out. If possible, store knives in a knife rack. It is safer and more convenient, and also protects the edge from contact with other utensils. This is the wrong way to wash knives. They should be washed separately and one at a time. If you lose a knife in the dishwater, you're likely to find it the hard way. Sure to treat even small injuries immediately to avoid danger of infection. And while we're on the subject of knives, they just weren't tough edges to cut fingers. Many excellent foods are preserved in glass containers. Should break, throw the food away. No matter how safe it may be, the danger of broken glass fragments is great to be disregarded. No kitchen is complete without a range, but there are right and wrong ways to use one. With a pilot light, lighting the burner, but make sure that the gas actually does ignite. If it doesn't have a pilot light, light your match before turning on the gas. Before minutes. This way you allow any accumulated gas to escape and prevent a possible explosion. After this time has elapsed, light and insert the match, then turn on the gas. A handle projecting over the edge of the stove can easily cause this. Keep the handles on your pots and pans tight and in good condition. A loose handle can cause many a spill. A screwdriver kept in the kitchen will be handy for keeping things in good repair. A good way to keep a handle in good condition is to keep it away from the lighted burners. Use a dry pot holder that is large enough to protect your hand, yet not large enough to extend into the flame. A wet holder conducts heat very readily. When removing the lid from a pan likely to contain steam, tip the lid in such a way as to direct the steam away from your body. Foods fried in deep fat are delicious, but certain precautions should be observed in their preparation. The mistakes usually made are filling the pan too full and is at a temperature 200 degrees hotter than boiling. Any water clinging to the food boils vigorously. This is likely to carry the fat over the side, where it may ignite. Pour the fat into a large container. Large enough so that the fat is at least 3 inches from the top. Keep the food as dry as possible. Remember, it's the water that causes the bubbling. And just in case, keep a reliable fire extinguisher in the kitchen at all times. What's wrong here? All the burners are turned off. Ah, but don't forget, this stove has a pilot light. Don't leave papers or pot holders near it, or this will happen to you. When plugging in or removing any electrical appliance, be sure your hands are dry. Wet skin conducts electricity much more readily than dry skin. Therefore, the danger of shock is much greater when your hands are wet. Here is a dangerous situation. Keep those electric cords where no one can trip over them. If If you use any of the many kinds of special equipment designed for the kitchen, be sure to read the manufacturer's recommendations for safe operation and follow them closely. It is not sufficient to follow the advice of some friend who ought to know. Consult your instruction book and get the correct information. When it becomes necessary to climb, do it a safe way. The few dollars you pay for a ladder are well spent in terms of convenience and safety. Remember Eleanor Jones? Eleanor will be released from the hospital in a few days, and when she gets out, she is determined to stay out. Eleanor had to go to the hospital to learn her lesson, but you don't have to. Remember, it pays to play safe in the kitchen.
Get a world away from the everyday with new Swanson International Dinners. German, Chinese, Italian, Mexican style.
They take you away from the everyday to a world where the food makes you want to stay.
Those real sensational
International frozen dinners from Swanson.
German style, a generous helping of sauerbraten, spätzles, and Bavarian cabbage. Chinese style, chicken chow mein and fried shrimp. Italian style, lasagna with meat and cheese, tortoni pudding. Mexican style, with a beef enchilada and tamales in the fiesta meaty sauce. Get a world away from the everyday with
these real sensational
International frozen dinners from Swanson.
Ladies, one reason you can always trust a Swanson frozen dinner, it rounds the hungry edge of appetite nobly well. Or as some of my more blunt brethren might say, it satisfies. A case in point, Swanson's turkey dinner. First the entree, prized poultry, expressed in succulent slices of white and dark meat, mantled in rich brown gravy and tastefully enhanced with Pepperidge Farm dressing. And now behold the glorified superwhip potatoes, richly regaled in butter. In the next neighborly compartment, a plentiful portion of peas, also bathed in butter sauce. And to complete our royal repast, a tantalizing extra, tangy sweet cranberry sauce. Aha, you say, but aren't there others? None that even remotely approaches this. So take my word for it, ladies. Trust Swanson.